I made this video back in February this year. The title of the video, Tyson Fury, the smartest man in boxing. And that's what the video was about, how smart Tyson Fury is, not in terms of just his boxing skills inside the ring, but even the way Tyson Fury maneuvers outside the ring. I think he's the smartest man in boxing. And that's not to say that Tyson Fury doesn't make mistakes in and out of the ring. Of course he makes mistakes, but everybody makes mistakes. But when I look at the situation overall, Tyson Fury is moving with the most savvy. He is very cunning. He's sly as a fox. He's very intelligent. You know, this is not like Deontay Wilder, who is this impulsive, kind of idiotic guy. Can punch like hell. Wilder's a tremendous fighter, but he's an idiot of a man. Tyson Fury, yes, he says a lot of stupid things, talks a lot of rubbish, but he's a thinking man. He's a guy who's very, very smart, very clever, understands the emotional state of the opponent, knows how to manipulate people, knows how to manipulate the public. That's who Tyson Fury is. And also, Tyson Fury knows how to pick the right fights at the right time. Tyson Fury knows how to do that. He knows when the energy is right for particular fights and when the energy ain't right. For example, Tyson Fury elected to vacate his British heavyweight title instead of facing his mandatory at the time, David Price. It wasn't the right time for Tyson Fury to fight Price. We have to remember, Tyson Fury around them times was getting dropped by people like Nevin Pikage, was having issues in the John McDermott. That's all around that kind of time period, give or take a year or two either side. Allegedly getting dropped by Dylan White a bunch of times in sparring. Tyson Fury knew that it wasn't the right time to fight David Price. He wasn't at the right stage of his development as a fighter to take on Price then, because he lost the Price in the amateurs, we remember. So he avoided the Price fight then, and of course went on to become a much, 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 much better fighter than David Price. But, like Tunde Ajayi likes to say, timing is everything. And Tyson Fury knew the timing wasn't right for the fight then. So very smart, very wise move by Tyson Fury not to take the fight at that particular moment. Look, Tyson Fury can beat David Price. Of course he could. Tyson Fury, at his best, spanks Price. But Tyson wasn't at his best then. Tyson was still a developing fighter, a very green fighter who was struggling with people who today would not be even in the same universe as him in terms of ability. But back then he realized that he was a lot more vulnerable and he knew the Price fight, that's not the right time for it. Moving forward, since his comeback, he elected to go the Wilder route rather than the AJ route. He knew the time wasn't right to go that particular route during his rehabilitation, because taking on an AJ, a guy who's more technically proficient than Wilder, to him that felt like, the wrong move. And he was probably right. Taking on Wilder, even though it was a crazy risk, because Fury wasn't anywhere near back to 100%. He knew that this was a guy who he could probably manipulate emotionally, because Deontay Wilder is an impulsive character. He's not that smart. And Fury knew he could manipulate him. And in the ring, Fury got Wilder wound up, and Wilder was throwing all these big haymakers and Fury was showboating and laughing and all this kind of stuff. Fury is really a master tactician in and out of the ring. He obviously was, looking at the Deontay Wilder rematch, didn't take it, swerved and took this ESPN deal, which again was a master stroke from a tactician's point of view. Obviously, I would rather see Tyson Fury fight Deontay Wilder in the rematch instead of taking on Tom Schwartz. So I'm not bigging up Tyson Fury here from just being, from a fighting perspective, because what gets the most respect out of me is a fighter who's willing to take on all comers. Now, I know it's not always realistic, and it's not always the smart thing to do, by the way, for a fighter to take on all comers. Because if you take on all comers and you're just willing to fight anybody, you're going to lose. That's going to happen. Yeah? And in fact, we see that from AJ, because AJ out of the top three was willing to fight the most amount of people. Whereas the other two have been selecting their opponents a lot more carefully. And as a result, they're taking the right fights at the right time rather than AJ, who's just like, yeah, stick anybody in. it's admirable to be just saying, yeah, stick anybody in, but it's a numbers game, man. It's the law of averages. If you just keep on fighting anybody out there, you're going to lose. And that's okay. You know, we shouldn't have this stigma that developed through the Mayweather era of a loss being the end of the world for a fighter. It shouldn't be the end of the world. But be that as it may, Mayweather showed the art of exactly what I'm talking about, taking the right fights at the right time. This is not to say that Mayweather, Tyson Fury, and these other guys don't take risks. Of course they take risks. They take huge risks. But they take the risks when they either need to take them or when the risks are at the right time. When an opponent is, you know, the right opponent in the right location at the right place at the right time, they take the risk. Of course, you're going to have to, you know, jump out sometimes and go to a location you don't want to go to. But again, it's because you have no other choice. Right? When Fury fought Klitschko, Klitschko weren't going to travel to the UK for that first fight. He had to fight him in Germany. Same for the Wilder fight. He had to fight Wilder in the US. Wilder weren't going to come to the UK for that Fury fight. So, of course, Fury has taken risks. But once he's in a position of power, like he was when he was British champion, like he is now that he's got this ESPN deal, now he's in a position of power. He's choosing his fights carefully. He's choosing his moves carefully. Yeah? And that really shows the brains of Tyson Fury. You see, unlike the other guys, unlike, certainly Deontay Wilder, I think that Tyson Fury is the brains behind the operation. I don't think Deontay Wilder is the brains behind it. I don't think Deontay Wilder has any brains. I don't think he's the brains behind the operation. I don't think Anthony Joshua is really the brains behind his operation. I think Anthony Joshua is his own boss, yes, but that's different than being the brains. Tyson Fury is the brains. Right? He's the brain. I mean, let's not get it twisted. Do I think it was his choice to fight Tom Schwartz solely, or do I think it was, you know, Bob Arum leading him down that path? No, I think it was Bob Arum. But at the end of the day, Tyson Fury signed that contract knowing where Bob Arum wanted to take him and what Bob Arum wanted to do with him and the kind of opponents he's going to be fighting. Fury knew that. But you think he didn't know what the direction Bob Arum was going to take him before he signed that? Of course he knew. If Fury was cool with that. Maybe Fury told Arum what he wanted. So I think Fury is the brains in his operation. He's a very, very smart, crafty, wily guy, not only in the ring, but also out of the ring. And I said this, as I say, in this video several months ago, what I'm saying right now, he is the most wily of them all. Now he's in a position of power. He's choosing his battles very wisely. And again, it's not to say that he's always going to fight poor opposition. No, it's not a knock on some. It's like Mayweather fought great fighters, but he fought great fighters in the right circumstances at the right time. Like when he fought Canelo, great win. He fought Canelo, catch weight, brought him down a bit, fought him when he was green, so on and so forth. Do you understand? Obviously, it was Cinco de Mayo. Mayweather always wanted to fight in certain locations on certain dates. That was his routine. He understood how he needed to, you know, line things up in order to produce his best performance all the time. Tyson Fury is the closest thing we have to Mayweather in the heavyweight division in terms of his ability to line things up. And to be fair, you know, Mayweather, I'm sure, had advice and what have you. But in terms of what we see manifesting in their careers, yeah, Tyson Fury has that similar kind of wily as a fox attitude, understanding how to manipulate the minds of opponents, the minds of the fans, picking the right fights at the right time. And here we are, Tyson Fury, all these years on, still undefeated. When he elected not to take certain fights, still undefeated. Took on the great Klitschko, beat him convincingly without taking any serious shots. In a masterful performance. So, yeah, anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. In my view, Tyson Fury is the smartest man in boxing. Yeah, in terms of fighters anyway. I think he's the smartest man in boxing, at least in the heavyweight division. Tell me somebody smarter than Fury. Not just in the ring, out of the ring too. I'm not saying he doesn't make mistakes. He does make mistakes. He puts his foot in it frequently, contradicts himself a lot. But ultimately, look where he's ended up. This is a guy who doesn't have any belts, but yet he is in a position where he's calling himself champion. He doesn't have any mandatory obligations. He can fight whoever he wants and still call it a championship fight. That is a position of power. You can criticize it and say he's being disingenuous, he's being dishonest. Yeah, he is. But he's also being very smart. I can't even lie to you. Very, very smart man. So anyway, let me know how you guys feel in the comment section below. It's happening about. Join me on Patreon. I upload a minimum of 2 podcasts every single week, covering a wide variety of controversial topics, as well as live stream Q&A sessions. Take a look on screen right now at some of the podcasts I've produced so far. For just $3 a month, the equivalent of about £2 a month, you get access to all my new podcasts and my entire back catalogue of past podcasts, including my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. You can listen on your computer or on your smartphone or tablet by downloading the Patreon app from the Google Play Store or the App Store for free. The Patreon app also allows you to download each podcast in MP3. For less than the price of a cup of coffee, you get access to dozens of hours of exclusive content. It's easy to sign up, there's no contract, and you can cancel at any time. So come and join our community of free and critical thinkers by signing up with me here on Patreon today.